Welcome back to Real Talk with me, Bowie, and Nathan Najib. Today we'll be diving into the October market wrap. I have 6 questions for Nathan on housing prices, affordability, interest rates, and more. We'll be releasing an audio exclusive market wrap at the end of each month. And if you want more insights, join our 1,000 YouTube subscribers at Najib Real Estate YouTube channel. You're calling yourself the uneducated economist.
That is me, uneducated economist that would I'm saying this with all humility, we've been getting it right every single time. The worst thing we might have done is we're probably off by a month. Every other time,
Yeah.
it's like spot on.
Yeah, you need you're never going to get it exact, but when the market or the banks at the start of the year, the economists and also very popular, I guess, developers were saying the market's going to go up. You were saying it's going to go down. And that's why you call yourself the uneducated economist, because you're not making money off this.
Not at all. What I'm doing, I've got the goal for us is tell the truth, regardless what the market is doing, regardless of if it's good for us or bad for us. But the truth is where it's at. And long term, obviously, this in the past when we did the report that we called 2024 the year of chaos. Mm-hmm. I said this is not our idea for me saying this, but over a long time, people would come to us because they're only gonna hear the truth. And thankfully, people appreciate what we say.
Yeah, they do. Many good comments. Few haters here and there, but you're always going to get that. All right, question number 1. Chris Luxon recently highlighted that under the current government, there has been 2 interest rate cuts, while the previous government saw 12 interest rate rises. Inflation has also dropped significantly from 7.3% to 2.2%. When do you think these positive effects will start to impact everyday Kiwis?
Yeah. I think that's going to take time, right? It's not going to happen right away because if interest rate is high, like it was, so going back to how the real estate works, it's always a cycle. Like when, for example, interest rate is low, the market is hot. Now, when the market is hot, inflation is high. Now, how do you turn things around? You raise the interest rates, right? Once the interest rate rises, then the market slows down. Off the back of slow market, inflation goes lower. Off the back of inflation, when it goes lower, unemployment rises. Off the back of unemployment rise, there's going to be some chaos because you can't have unemployment, high unemployment, and nothing happens to the economy. Nothing happens to people, right? So a bunch of people are going to struggle, and then the next step is back to the healthy growth, which takes a bit of time. Then it comes back to the start of the cycle again. The market will slowly take off. So coming back to when the market is gonna start recovering. The inflation is 2.2%. It's like almost pretty close. I think the next time they do the inflation, next quarter is going to be even lower because it's going to still a little bit of water to go under this bridge. Mm-hmm. A bunch of people still need to struggle, but then the next report, because I see that today, you look around here. The office across the road is empty. The office next door to us, they go into a smaller office. You look at how many vacancies there are, right?
Governments are still cutting jobs,
right? Meaning,
so the chaos is started. It's started now. It's like, when will that chaos come to fruition?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's going to take a little bit of time. So now people are losing their jobs, for example, right? They lose their job. Now they can't afford to hold on their property. Now there's perhaps going to be a few mortgage auctions, right? And then, so they lost their houses. Unfortunately, some people are going to lose that, right? So they mean another drop in the market. Then those people there need to go find themselves a job, save a bit of money. So the recovery is going to be 12 months, maybe 24 months. So you see the bottom, probably I suggest next 6 months. And then it's going to be a recovery for next 12 to 24 months. And then you're going to come back, start to a healthy growth of 2 to 4%.
So when you say recovery, the market will just be kind of stable. We won't see much movement. The balance between buyers and sellers may come back to more equilibrium, would you say? And then it will start to go into that 2 to 4% growth?
Yeah. And that could be 24 months. So that is what I think is going to happen. And the market is not going to, it doesn't, after a chaos, it doesn't bounce back, because the only time it bounces back is when like inflation is high, interest rate is low, very low, and then money was printed. So that kind of growth, I don't think we've ever had it in Christchurch, and I don't think it's going to happen for a little while. So the healthy growth we talk about many times, which is great for real estate economy, 2 to 4%. So coming back to that for the next 10 years will be just perfect.
Yeah.
For the economy.
Okay. Just with inflation, so like you said, it's come back to 2.2%. You think next quarter it may come back even more, but there's still an affordability crisis. Like, I'm not seeing that effect on, everyday items like groceries. Petrol, it's come down a bit. But yeah, when do you think the wage discrepancy with the house prices and the costs will kind of...
Hence, I said it's going to be there's more to go. So that's, okay, inflation is 2.2%, but we still haven't seen the prices come back. So now, inflation is 2.2%. People are not spending that much. Let's say I own a furniture shop, right? People are not spending much. People are not buying that, right? I'm like, how the hell do I get rid of my stuff? I need to drop the prices here. So that's going to happen right across.
Yeah.
That is when the price of things come back.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so that will start to take effect.
Exactly.
Now, really. Yeah.
Hence, I say like it is still time to go down before we come up.
Yeah.
And they've been saying that they said at the start of the year, this is the bottom of the market. And I said there was no bloody way it was the bottom of the market. It's just the chaos is starting. I feel like the chaos has started now, and we still got the bottom to come.
Okay. So with the current market, have you seen more interest? Because there wasn't a lot of buyers this year, well, particularly at the start of the year through to mid-year. Are you seeing more buyers coming into the marketplace now that interest rates have come down slightly?
So the interest rate, when it comes back, you usually don't get a whole lot of buyers. Whilst people like to buy, there's still restrictions there. Remember the restrictions they brought in, the government brought in, it was like, for the investors, I believe there has to be, if they had 100,000 income, like average home income is 125,000, then you have 20,000 deposit, and then there was 7 times the income they could borrow for investment. For investment borrow was 6 times the income, and for your own home is 7 times the income. So these whole other restrictions
that are still in place. Yeah,
exactly. So for interest rate coming back, it helps people who own houses. Mind you, it's only 0.5%. It's not going to make a huge difference. No, but it will help. Or make it easier on people who own houses, but it's still, the buyers are still heaps of restrictions. A lot of people can't still borrow money, right? The finance is pretty tight. Yeah. So if the finance is still tight, and you seeing, what was the number that we saw last time, that in the supply has increased by 20%?
Yeah, it's
30%.
Like, no, 20% from like 280,000 sold this year compared to the same period last year, January to September.
Right.
Yeah.
So that increased by 20%, and I saw somewhere else. Don't quote me on this stat, but it was about 30% that the demand has dropped, meaning that the bank have lent 30% less money than last year. So the demand has decreased and supply has increased. Now you don't need to be a genius to figure out what the market is going to do, right? Yeah. Less demand, way more supply. What's going to happen is oversupply.
Way less mortgage approvals this year. I don't know the exact stats, but we're creating an article on that at the moment. So, so keep a lookout for that. So the ones who are buying properties, who are they?
The people that are buying properties? first home buyers that we're talking about. I was talking with somebody else about this. We see like people, the young people, they're still buying. They were saying, see what they were saying, like, you know, the young people, they want things today, so they can't wait. So they were like, they got that, you know, what the instant gratification society that we live in.
Yeah.
So they talking about that generation is buying the high-end properties, the unique ones, the one that stand out. There's plenty of expectation for that. There's plenty of interest on those, because the high-end, if you have money, you have money. It's like the market is a little bit tough. It doesn't really matter. And then towards the mid-end of the market, it is quieter.
Yeah.
Like it's quite right across the real estate market. First home buyers more active, a lot more active, and then from this, like, first home buyers are the most active, and then probably the top end properties, especially if it's a unique home, that's pretty busy, and then mid range, like, okay, right, there's plenty on the market. Like, you know, now I'll take my time, I'll choose whatever one I like, the best one. Like, for example, in Rolleston, there's that many properties on the market. It's not funny. Like, people through open homes at all, unless it's a unique home like Burnham School Road that we sold. We had like people fighting over it, which was 2 dwellings and da da da.
And this is when they can't sell. I mean, why are they selling? That's the first question. Probably because they're struggling, right?
Exactly.
And then if they can't sell, what do? Drop the price. Yeah.
They'll have to. If they have to sell because they lost their jobs, then you have to drop the price, right?
I mean, it's unfortunate, and the government, you know, a lot of people hate against the new government, but they're doing it for the future, right? They're doing it for your kids at home who are going to be buying houses in the next 15 years. If we carried on the way we were going, it would have been impossible. Like, the gap between wages and affordability would have just increased.
100%.
So you have to go through a bit of pain for a while, unfortunately.
I think first home buyers were better off buying in about a year's time, because things are going to come back. Things will be affordable. Affordable property prices have being between 3 to 4 times average home income. So we still got a little while to go. What's the average sale price at the moment in Christchurch? Is 600 plus, and average income is 125,000. Excuse me, so still almost 6%. It was 7% not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it's gonna. This is a good thing. I mean, this, you know, unfortunate things gonna happen. Like, some people are gonna lose their homes, but it's actually in a long term, like you said, affordability needs to come back, man. Yeah. Because people can't afford houses. The bottom is gonna come off the market.
Yeah. It's like in Australia at the moment. God. Yeah.
Horrible.
It is. Horrible. That's going to be even worse over there eventually. So let's say they are buying a property. They've seen a property they like.
Yeah.
Give them some tips on if they're buying their first home. What do they need to look out for? What should they do in this type of market?
Yes, there's plenty of options there. If you like a home and you're buying it obviously for long term and you can afford, let's say for the next year or two, let's say the mortgage at 5% or 5.5%. So I don't think it's going to come lower than 5%. I don't think. So let's say you can afford a property at 5.5% for the next 3 years, and you love the house. Go ahead and buy it. And there's plenty of options, so you don't need to. You know, there was this thing back in 2021, 22, the FOMO, fear of missing out, and I'm telling you, that was an absolutely insane market.
Yeah,
it was crazy market. So at least they're not in that market. So take your time, buy your home, and long term, you can't go wrong with it. As long as you don't buy it in the peak. In 2021, 2022, I was telling people not to buy houses.
You were. I saw the videos.
You did.
Yeah, you did tell them.
I was telling them.
Yeah.
Everybody else is obviously because, and I'm not. We in business selling real estate, right? Imagine if they listened to us.
Yeah,
they'd be better off.
Well, I think people are listening to you, and when they go to buy a house end of next year or mid next year, even now when they're buying a house, Give Nathan a thank you.
I've actually, you didn't thank me, but it's just I'm just doing my job. But I actually got a call from somebody from Dubai. They own a property in Auckland. They're calling me. I got a meeting with them at 6:30 just to give them some advice. So, like, if we can help, that's what it's about, right?
It's all free. It's all free advice. We enjoy
100%.
it, and yeah. All right, last question. This is on house prices. So we recently did a YouTube video, and that was about the best NZ city to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go through. I've got a question, but in Wellington, house prices, medium house prices are selling for 20% under RV. Christchurch, it's selling 1.54% under RV, and then Auckland is about 10% selling under RV.
Right.
And in the peak of the market, it was like 30%, right? So that's how much it's come back.
Mm.
But why do you think Christchurch market is a bit more resilient than, it's come back, it's selling just under RV?
Why is selling just under RV?
But it's a lot more resilient than the other markets.
I think Bowie, yeah, we're probably resilient. Okay, I feel like because they had a huge growth like they did, we had a 50% growth. They had like 100% growth, like those big major cities, right? And mind you, they had the growth before we had growth. So maybe if you do look at those stats in about 6 months' time, 9 months' time, we might have a bigger gap as well between the RV and what people are prepared to pay for it.
Yeah. I still come back a long way, all the cities, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Just those, Auckland and Wellington have been particularly Wellington, that's 20% selling under RV. So
mind you also, like, you give it some time, man, because I'm telling you, supply, and I talked about this a long time ago. I said, Christchurch is going to be so many oversupply of properties that's going to go crazy. Like, what I mean by crazy is like there's going to be that many options that people got to drop their prices. Now developers, like, look at Christchurch City alone, right? There's that many townhouses. It is not funny. And if you want to sell your townhouse, you got to drop your price to be able to be the first to sell. Now imagine these developers are struggling now.
yeah,
So if they're struggling and the banks are after them, now they have to sell those townhouses. They have to let it go, man. And what happens if they have to sell it and nobody wants to buy it? There's going to be some bargains out there. Same as in Rolleston, same as these whole other subdivisions happening. And smart developers now, they put a hold on their sections. Like the Hughes development, the guys out of West Milton, they've been around for a long time. And they were developing a property next door to where our family home is in Gainsborough. They put a hold on it. They're still working, doing their thing. They put a roading through, but they're not going to release it for a little while, which makes total sense. Imagine if they release all those sections. Well, if there's no buyers for it, they've borrowed money against that development. Now it's going to keep on costing them, so they have dropped their price for it to sell, right?
yeah.
So
For some people, they can't afford to do that and put it on hold, right? Especially these like new developers, they need to sell it now.
absolutely,
Yeah.
if the bank is after you now, you need to sell it,
Yeah,
and nobody wants to buy it. What's the solution?
yeah,
Got to drop the price, man.
you do. So just with townhouses,
Yeah.
I've been seeing, you can tell they're struggling because I've been seeing on billboards, it may have been Wolfbrook, they're saying no deposit required and we'll put 10,000 towards your initial investment.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do, or what advice do you have for these like first home buyers who are thinking about buying a townhouse
Yeah.
and then they've put this offer on the table?
Yeah. I say this is now my thoughts are, I've always said, if you want to buy a home, buy a property, buy a home rather than a townhouse. I've never been a fan of townhouses. I don't own any townhouses. If I'm gonna buy a townhouse, I'm buying a block of them when the developer is struggling to sell it. That's what I'm doing in the next 12 months or however long it may be, right? So if you're looking buying, you really want to buy a townhouse, shop around. There's that many of them. They're giving you $10,000 off the price. You go and find another developer saying, no, I'm getting 10,000 off the price. What do you want to do for me? So look around, bargain, shop around, and find yourself a townhouse. Like I said, I'd rather buy a house in an existing area that there's no oversupply that I have to worry about, and I'll get better capital growth.
Yeah.
We did a video on that, by the way.
We did. The townhouse trap, it's on YouTube, probably the most popular townhouse video in New Zealand now. So go watch that. Nathan gives good advice on if you are looking to buy a townhouse, what you should look for, what you shouldn't. But yeah, thank you, Nathan. We'll wrap it up there. 20 minutes. That's the first real talk we've done probably in 2 years.
Is that right? Good.
Yeah, so we'll be doing this every month. So last Tuesday of every month.
Good to be back.
Give us a like, give us a subscribe, watch us on YouTube, and yeah, we'll see you next in November.